Maya had always been the responsible one. While her friends went out partying on weekends, she picked up extra shifts at the hospital. Being a nurse wasn't just her job, it was her calling. She loved taking care of the little ones in the pediatric ward, making them smile even when they were scared. But somewhere along the way, she'd forgotten to take care of herself. That Monday morning started like any other. Her alarm didn't go off, and she woke up 20 minutes late. She rushed through her apartment, pulling her hair into a messy bun while trying to find her other shoe. The coffee at home would have to wait. She'd grab something on the way to work. The cafe on 5th Street was packed as usual. People in business suits stood in line, scrolling through their phones. Maya squeezed through the crowd, checking her watch every few seconds. She was going to be late again, and her supervisor had already given her a warning last week. That's when it happened. She turned too quickly near the pickup counter and bumped straight into someone. Hot coffee splashed thankfully away from both of them, and a laptop bag hit the floor with a thud. "Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry." Maya's face turned red as she bent down to help pick up the bag. No, it's my fault. I wasn't looking where I was going," the man said, reaching for his bag at the same time. Their hands touched, and Maya looked up. The man had kind eyes and an apologetic smile. He wore a casual button-down shirt and jeans, and there was something genuine about the way he looked concerned rather than annoyed. "I really am sorry," Maya said again, standing up and brushing off her scrubs. "I'm running late. And Hey, it's okay. Really," he smiled. "Actually, let me buy you a coffee. To replace the time you've lost standing here, apologizing to me." Maya hesitated. She didn't have time, but something about his friendly demeanor made her pause. "You don't have to do that." "I want to. Please. I insist." 5 minutes later, they stood at the counter together. His name was David, and he just moved to the city 3 weeks ago for a new job. He worked with computers, something about software development that Maya didn't fully understand. She told him about her work at the hospital, and his face lit up. "My sister is a nurse too," he said. "I have so much respect for what you all do. The hours alone would kill me." They got their coffees and sat down at a small table by the window. Maya kept checking her phone, knowing she should leave, but the conversation flowed so easily. David asked questions that showed he was really listening. He didn't just wait for his turn to talk like so many people did. "I moved here to start fresh," David admitted, stirring his coffee slowly. "My divorce was finalized about 2 years ago, and I needed a change. New city, new opportunities. You know?" Maya nodded. "I get that. I went through a bad breakup myself a few years back. My fiancé cheated on me with someone from his office. It kind of made me shut down for a while. I'm sorry. That's rough." David's expression showed genuine sympathy. "It's hard to trust again after something like that." "Exactly," Maya said, surprised at how comfortable she felt sharing this with a stranger. "I just focused on work after that. Safer that way." David laughed softly. "Same here. Work became my everything. My therapist kept telling me I needed to get out more, meet people. But it's scary, you know? Putting yourself out there again." They talked for 20 more minutes before Maya finally had to go. She was definitely going to be late now. But somehow, she didn't care as much as she thought she would. As she stood to leave, David stood too. "This might be forward, but would you maybe want to do this again? The coffee, I mean. Maybe when you're not running late?" He looked nervous, asking, which Maya found endearing. She smiled. "I'd like that. I'm here most mornings before my shift." "Same time? Same place?" "It's a date. I mean, not a date. Just coffee. Unless you want it to be." David stumbled over his words, and Maya laughed. "Coffee sounds perfect." As Maya rushed to her car, she couldn't stop smiling. She didn't believe in love at first sight, or fate, or any of that romantic stuff. She was practical, logical, grounded in reality. But something had happened in that cafe. Some small spark of possibility that maybe, just maybe, it was okay to let someone in again. The rest of her shift flew by in a blur. She changed bandages, gave medications, and comforted crying toddlers. But in the back of her mind, she kept replaying the conversation. The way David's eyes crinkled when he smiled. How he really listened when she talked. That nervous energy. When he asked to see her again. Her coworker, Rita, noticed something different. "Why are you so happy today? You're humming." "I am not humming," Maya protested, but she was smiling. "You definitely are. What happened? Did you win the lottery?" Maya shook her head. "Just had a good morning, that's all." But it was more than that, and she knew it. For the first time in a long time, she felt like maybe she was ready to take a chance, ready to believe that not everyone would hurt her, ready to see where this could go. When she got home that night, she found herself picking out her outfit for the next morning more carefully than usual. Nothing too obvious, but maybe something a little nicer than her usual thrown-together look. She set her alarm 15 minutes earlier, just to be safe. As she lay in bed, Maya thought about David's words. It's scary putting yourself out there again. It was scary. Terrifying, actually. But maybe that was okay. Maybe the best things in life were a little bit scary. The next morning, Maya was ready 20 minutes early. She'd changed her outfit 3 times before settling on a simple sweater and jeans. When she walked into the cafe, David was already there, sitting at the same table by the window. He waved when he saw her, and her heart did a little flip. "You're early," she said, sliding into the seat across from him. "Couldn't risk missing you," David replied with a grin. "I already ordered your coffee. Caramel latte with extra foam, right? That's what you got yesterday." Maya felt warmth spread through her chest. He'd remembered. "That's perfect. Thank you." This became their routine. Every morning for the next 3 weeks, they met at the cafe. Sometimes they talked for 10 minutes. Sometimes for 30. Maya learned that David had a younger brother who lived overseas, that he loved hiking but was terrible at cooking, and that he'd always wanted to learn to play guitar but never had the time. David learned that Maya wanted to open her own clinic someday, a place where people in underserved communities could get quality healthcare regardless of their ability to pay. He learned that she was funny in a quiet, observational way. That she noticed details about people that others missed. That she had dreams bigger than the small life she'd built for herself. "Why haven't you started working toward the clinic?" David asked one morning. Maya shrugged. "Money, mostly. And fear, I guess. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?" "You're definitely good enough," David said firmly. "From everything you've told me about your work, you're exactly the kind of person who should be running a clinic." Their friendship deepened with each passing day. Maya found herself thinking about David during her shifts. She'd save up funny stories from work to tell him the next morning. When she saw something she thought he'd like, she'd take a picture to show him. But there was something else growing too. Something neither of them acknowledged directly. The way David's gaze would linger on her face. How Maya's breath would catch when their hands accidentally touched. The electric feeling in the air when they sat close together. One Thursday evening, Maya's car wouldn't start. She'd stayed late at the hospital for a staff meeting. And now she was stuck in the parking lot in the rain. She called a rideshare service, but the wait time was over an hour. Without thinking too much about it, she texted David. He arrived 15 minutes later, pulling up in his old but reliable sedan. Maya ran through the rain and climbed into the passenger seat, laughing as she tried to shake water from her hair. "My hero," she said, only half joking. "Always happy to rescue a damsel in distress," David replied. "Though you seem pretty capable of rescuing yourself most of the time." As David drove through the rainy streets, their conversation took a different turn. Maybe it was the darkness, or the intimacy of the car, or just that they'd been dancing around deeper topics for weeks. But tonight, they talked about real things. Heavy things. Do you ever think you'll get married again? Maya asked quietly. David was silent for a moment. I don't know. My marriage ended because I wasn't enough. At least, that's what she said. I worked too much, didn't pay enough attention, wasn't exciting enough. After a while, you start to believe it. That's not true, Maya said firmly. Anyone who gets to spend time with you can see how special you are. David glanced at her, and something passed between them. You really think that? I know it. They pulled up to Maya's apartment building. But neither of them moved to get out of the car. The rain drummed on the roof, creating a cocoon around them. The streetlights cast a soft glow through the windshield. I'm scared, Maya admitted. Of what's happening here. Between us. Me too, David said. His voice was barely above a whisper. My last relationship destroyed me. I don't know if I can go through that again. David reached over and gently took her hand. I would never hurt you intentionally. But I'm scared too. What if I'm not good at this? What if I mess it up? Maya turned to face him fully. What if you don't? The air between them felt charged with possibility. David's thumb traced circles on the back of her hand. His eyes searched her face, lingering on her lips. Maya's heart pounded so hard, she was sure he could hear it. Maya, he said softly. Can I? Yes, she breathed, not even letting him finish the question. David leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to change her mind. But she didn't want to. She'd been waiting for this moment without even realizing it. When his lips finally met hers, it was soft and tentative at first. A question, being asked and answered. But then, something shifted. The kiss deepened. Weeks of tension and unspoken feelings poured out. David's hand moved to cup her face, and Maya's fingers tangled in his hair. The kiss became more urgent, more passionate. Neither of them wanted it to end. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, reality seemed to crash back in. Maya's eyes went wide. I should go, she said suddenly, reaching for the door handle. Wait, Maya. I'm sorry. I need to think. Thank you for the ride. She practically jumped out of the car and ran toward her building. David sat in his car, watching her disappear inside, wondering what had just happened. Had he pushed too hard? Moved too fast? The kiss had felt right more than right. It had felt like everything clicking into place. But maybe he'd been wrong. Maya didn't sleep that night. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the kiss over and over. Her lips still tingled. Her heart still raced. But her mind screamed warnings. This was too much, too fast. She'd let her guard down. And look what happened. She'd gotten swept up in the moment and forgotten all the reasons she'd built walls in the first place. People left. People hurt you. People promised forever and delivered heartbreak. The next morning, Maya took a different route to work. She couldn't face the cafe. Couldn't face David. Her phone buzzed with texts from him. But she couldn't bring herself to read them. Instead, she threw herself into work with even more intensity than usual. You okay? Rita asked during their lunch break. You seem off. I'm fine, Maya lied. Just tired. But she wasn't fine. Every quiet moment, her mind drifted back to that kiss, to the way David had looked at her, to the feeling of complete rightness before the panic set in. Days passed. Maya avoided the cafe, avoided David's calls and texts. She told herself she was doing the right thing, protecting herself, being smart. But late at night, she'd read his messages. They weren't angry or demanding, just concerned and kind. I hope you're okay. I'm here when you're ready to talk. I don't want to pressure you. Just want you to know I miss our morning coffees. Whatever happened, we can talk about it. I value your friendship too much to let it go without trying. On day 5 of radio silence, Rita cornered Maya in the break room. Okay, spill. What's going on with you? And don't say nothing, because I've known you for 4 years and you're definitely not yourself. Maya's defenses crumbled. I kissed someone. Well, he kissed me. We kissed each other. And then I ran away, and now I'm avoiding him like a coward. Rita's eyebrows shot up. The coffee shop guy? The one who's been making you smile every morning? How did you... Please. You think I didn't notice? So what's the problem? He's a bad kisser? No, Maya said quietly. It was perfect. That's the problem. I'm not following. Maya sat down heavily in one of the plastic chairs. What if I let him in, and he breaks my heart? What if I'm not enough? What if he realizes I'm too damaged, too closed off, too boring? Rita knelt down in front of her friend. Or what if he doesn't? What if this is your chance at something real, and you're throwing it away because you're scared? Of course I'm scared. Being scared is okay. But running away from the best thing that's happened to you in years? That's not protecting yourself. That's punishing yourself for someone else's mistakes. The words hit Maya like a punch to the gut. Rita was right. She'd been so focused on avoiding pain that she'd forgotten how to allow joy. She'd let one person's betrayal rob her of the chance to be happy with someone new. That night, Maya finally opened all of David's messages. She read them twice, then 3 times. Each one showed patience, kindness, and understanding. He wasn't demanding anything from her. He was just letting her know he was still there. She typed and deleted a response 5 times before finally settling on something simple. I'm sorry for disappearing. Can we talk? His response came within minutes. Of course. Whenever you're ready. They agreed to meet at a park the next evening, somewhere neutral. Maya spent the whole day nervous, rehearsing what she'd say. But when she saw David sitting on a bench by the pond, all her prepared words flew out of her head. He stood when he saw her approaching. Hi. Hi. Maya twisted her hands together. I owe you an explanation. You don't owe me anything, but I'd like to hear it if you want to share. They started walking along the path around the pond. The evening sun cast golden light through the trees. When my ex cheated on me, it broke something inside me, Maya began. We were together for 4 years, planning a wedding. I thought I knew him completely, and then I found out he'd been lying for months. David listened without interrupting. So, I shut down. I decided it was safer to be alone. Work became my whole life, because at least I was good at that. At least patients didn't lie to me about who they were. Maya took a shaky breath. And then I met you. And you were kind and funny and genuine. And I started to let my guard down without even meaning to. That sounds terrifying, David said softly. It was. It is. And when we kissed, it felt so right that it scared me even more. Because what if I'm wrong again? What if I'm seeing what I want to see, instead of what's really there? They stopped walking, and David turned to face her. I can't promise I'm perfect. I'm probably going to mess up sometimes. I work too much. I'm not great at expressing my feelings, and I have my own baggage from my divorce. But I can promise that I'll never intentionally hurt you. And I'll always be honest with you, even when it's hard. Tears welled up in Maya's eyes. I want to try. I'm just so scared of getting hurt again. I'm scared too, David admitted. But maybe we can be scared together. Take it slow. Be honest with each other. See where it goes without putting pressure on it. Maya wiped her eyes and managed a small smile. Slow sounds good. So we're okay? We're okay. Maya took a deep breath and made a decision. Actually, we're more than okay. And she stepped forward and kissed him. This time there was no panic, no running away. Just the feeling of taking a chance on something that might be wonderful. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. I missed you, David said. I missed you too. I'm sorry I ran. You're here now. That's what matters. They walked around the pond 3 more times, talking and laughing and slowly finding their way back to the easy connection they'd built. By the time the sun set, Maya felt lighter than she had in years. The fear was still there, but it didn't control her anymore. Over the next few months, Maya and David built something real. They went on actual dates, dinner at small restaurants, hiking trails outside the city, movie nights at his apartment. They kept their morning coffee tradition but added evening walks and weekend adventures. Maya introduced David to Rita, who immediately approved. He's good for you. You're smiling again. Actually smiling. Not just the polite nurse smile you give everyone. David introduced Maya to his work friends during a casual barbecue. She fit right in, making everyone laugh with stories from the hospital. One of his colleagues pulled him aside. Don't mess this up. She's special. I know, David said, watching Maya help someone's kid find a lost toy. Trust me. I know. Things weren't always perfect. They had their first argument when David got too absorbed in a work project and forgot they had plans. Maya's old fears surfaced, and she withdrew for a day before they talked it through. David apologized and made a genuine effort to be more present. They learned how to communicate, how to work through problems instead of running from them. Maya started looking into business loans for her clinic idea. David helped her put together a presentation. You need to show them why this matters. Tell them about Mrs. Rodriguez, who couldn't afford her diabetes medication, or little Tommy, who needed asthma treatment but his parents didn't have insurance. You remember their names? Maya asked, surprised. Of course. You talk about them all the time. They're important to you, so they're important to me. 6 months into their relationship, David surprised Maya with a weekend trip to a cabin in the mountains. They hiked during the day and sat by the fire at night, talking about their dreams and fears and futures. I want to meet your family, David said one evening. If you're comfortable with that. Maya had been avoiding this topic. Her relationship with her parents was complicated. They'd never understood her career choice, always pushing her towards something more prestigious. And after her broken engagement, family gatherings had been full of pitying looks and invasive questions. They're a lot, Maya warned. My mom will ask when we're getting married. My dad will interrogate you about your job and your finances. My aunt will tell embarrassing stories about me as a kid. David squeezed her hand. I can handle it. I want to know all of you, including the complicated family parts. The dinner with her parents went exactly as Maya predicted. Her mother barely waited until they sat down before asking about David's intentions. Her father grilled him about his career trajectory, but David handled it with grace and humor. He complimented her mother's cooking, discussed investment strategies with her father, and laughed at her aunt's stories. After dinner, as they drove home, Maya felt overwhelmed with emotion. Thank you for that. For being patient with them. They love you. They're just protective. I get it. David glanced at her. Besides, your aunt's story about you getting stuck in a tree trying to rescue a cat was adorable. I was 11 and very committed to animal welfare, Maya said, laughing. But not everything was smooth. One night, Maya scrolled through social media and saw photos of her ex's wedding. He looked happy. His new wife was beautiful. And despite everything, despite being happy with David, old wounds ached. She closed her laptop and sat in the dark, crying quietly. When David called for their usual goodnight conversation, she tried to sound normal, but he could tell something was wrong. What happened? Nothing. I'm fine. Maya. Talk to me. She told him about the photos. About feeling stupid for still being affected. About wondering if she'd ever fully heal from that betrayal. David showed up at her apartment 20 minutes later with ice cream and patience. He held her while she cried. Not trying to fix it. Just being there. Healing isn't linear, he said. You're allowed to have bad days. It doesn't mean you haven't moved forward. Look at where you were a year ago. You wouldn't even let someone buy you coffee. Maya laughed through her tears. That's true. And now you're with me, planning a business, living your life. One random Tuesday night doesn't erase all that progress. That night, as they ate ice cream and watched bad reality TV, Maya realized something important. This was love. Not the butterflies and excitement of new relationships, but the steady presence of someone who showed up when things got hard. Someone who didn't run when she showed her broken pieces. A few weeks later, David came home from work looking exhausted and discouraged. His company was going through layoffs, and while his job seemed secure, the stress was taking its toll. I don't know if I even like this work anymore, he admitted. I got into software because I loved solving puzzles, creating things, but now it's all meetings and politics and deadlines. So what would you do if you could do anything? Maya asked. David thought for a moment. Maybe teaching. Helping people learn to code. Especially kids from communities that don't usually get access to that kind of education. That's perfect for you, Maya said. You're so patient when you're explaining things. Remember when you taught Rita's son basic programming? He couldn't stop talking about it. Ask. We can see. It's not practical, though. The pay cut would be huge. But would you be happy? That question hung in the air between them. Maya saw David truly considering it, weighing the practical against the passionate. She recognized that struggle because she was fighting the same battle with her clinic dreams. What if we both did it? Maya said suddenly. What if we both took the leap? You look into teaching positions. I seriously pursue the clinic funding. We could support each other through it. David looked at her with wonder. You'd really do that? We're a team, right? Might as well be brave together. They stayed up late that night, making plans and researching options. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, preparing to jump. Scary and exhilarating all at once. The next few months were a whirlwind. Maya applied for grants and loans, putting together detailed proposals for her community clinic. David researched teaching programs and started volunteering at a coding workshop for teenagers to see if he really enjoyed it. They supported each other through rejections and small victories. Maya's third grant application got approved for partial funding. She screamed with excitement and called David immediately. He left work early to celebrate with her. That night, over Chinese takeout in her apartment, they talked about the future more concretely than ever before. I found a location, Maya said. It's in the neighborhood where I grew up. Rent is reasonable. And it's right near the bus lines. Perfect for the community I want to serve. That's amazing. When can you start? There's still more funding to secure, permits to get, equipment to buy. Maybe 6 months if everything goes smoothly? Maya paused. I'm terrified. Of what? Failing, letting people down, being responsible for everything. David moved closer to her on the couch. You won't be alone. You know that, right? I'm here. Whatever you need. I know. And I'm here for you too. How's the teaching thing going? 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. David's face lit up. I got accepted into the certification program. I can start teaching at the community college part-time while I finish the requirements. The pay isn't great, but I've never been more excited about work in my life. They kissed, both grinning. They were doing it. Taking chances, chasing dreams, building a life together. But there was one more conversation they needed to have. One that had been hovering unspoken between them. I love you, David said. I think I've loved you since that first coffee. But definitely since you ran away from me in the rain and then came back. I love how brave you are, how much you care about people, how you make me want to be better. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. I love you too. You gave me back something I thought I'd lost forever. The ability to trust, to hope, to believe in good things. So, where do we go from here? Forward, Maya said simply. Together. 3 months later, Maya signed the lease on the clinic space. It was empty and needed work, but she could see the potential. Exam rooms here, a waiting area there, maybe a small play area for kids. David helped paint on weekends. Rita donated supplies from the hospital. Maya's parents, finally understanding how serious she was, contributed financially and helped with the renovation. Even her aunt showed up with sandwiches and stories to keep everyone entertained while they worked. The day before the clinic's grand opening, Maya stood in the middle of the space and cried. It was real. Her dream was actually happening. David found her there and wrapped his arms around her. You did it, he said. We did it, she corrected. I couldn't have done this without you. The opening day was chaotic and wonderful. Families from the neighborhood came through, grateful for accessible health care. Maya worked 12 hours straight, but she'd never been happier. When she finally locked up that night, David was waiting outside with flowers. For the amazing doctor who's going to change lives. I'm not a doctor, just a nurse with big dreams. Just a nurse who made those dreams happen. They walked to their car, hand in hand, exhausted but fulfilled. As they drove through the city streets, Maya reflected on how much had changed in 2 years. She'd gone from closed off and afraid to open and brave, from running from connection to building a life with someone. Do you remember that first morning? She asked David. When I spilled your coffee? Best accident of my life. Mine too. David glanced at her, then back at the road. Can I ask you something? Grace. Always. Move in with me. Or I'll move in with you. I don't care where we live. But I want to come home to you every night. I want to celebrate the good days and support you through the hard ones. I want to build this life together officially. Maya didn't hesitate. Yes. They found an apartment halfway between the clinic and David's new teaching job. It was small, but perfect, with big windows and enough space for both of them. Moving day was chaotic, with Rita and David's friends helping carry boxes up 3 flights of stairs. You two are disgustingly happy, Rita teased as she watched Maya and David dance in the kitchen while unpacking dishes. We really are, Maya agreed, not caring how silly it sounded. That night, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes, they ordered pizza and sat on the floor of their new living room. David pulled out 2 fortune cookies. What does yours say? Maya asked. New beginnings bring unexpected joy. David laughed. Very fitting. Art Keat. Mine says, your patience will be rewarded. Also, fitting. They talked late into the night about future plans. Maybe getting a dog. Definitely traveling more. Possibly marriage someday, when they were both ready. But there was no rush. They had time. 1 year later, Maya's clinic had served over 500 patients. David's students consistently praised his teaching style. They hosted dinner parties in their apartment. They took beach vacations and hiking trips. They built a life full of ordinary, beautiful moments. On the anniversary of their first meeting, they went back to the cafe where it all started. They sat at the same table by the window, drinking the same coffee they'd ordered 2 years ago. Do you ever think about how different things would be if we hadn't bumped into each other? Maya asked. All the time. But I try not to think about it too much. The what-ifs can drive you crazy. I'm grateful, Maya said, for all of it. Even the scary parts. Especially the scary parts. Because they taught me I was stronger than I thought. David reached across the table and took her hand. I looked at your lips that night in the car and lost all control. Best decision I ever made. Maya laughed. It was a good decision. For both of us. After. They left the cafe hand in hand, walking into their future together. The journey from that first accidental meeting to this moment had been filled with fear and courage, pain and healing, doubt and faith. But every step had been worth it. Because sometimes losing control means finally finding what you've been looking for all along. Sometimes the person who changes everything walks into your life when you least expect it. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to take the chance, love finds you in a crowded cafe on an ordinary Monday morning.